This is 2002, and so on, right? Like the Earth. Well, this distance has nothing to do with the same point in space-time. After a year of rotation around the sun, the Earth is millions and millions of miles away from where it was last year. Do you see how that starts to open your mind, open your consciousness to what's really occurring?
You mean I'm still 1 year old?
Pardon me?
You mean I'm still 1 year old?
What do you mean?
Well, there's no birthday, so you never get back to the beginning.
Yeah, well, you know, the birthday, actually there is still a birthday, and that's when you were 2 and you were 3, because you were changed. In fact, if the Earth came back onto the same space-time coordinates, then you wouldn't change. It would be the same year. Every year would get really boring. So like Groundhog Year, you know? And so that I realized why every moment is a different moment. Every moment is a different moment because we're moving through the geometry of space-time. And every movement through, every point on that spiral is a different point, is in a different relationship to everything else.
Could you explain the Coriolis effect and how that fits into this?
Well, the Coriolis effect, that's a little more complex. I'm going to explain the Coriolis effect later on. It's going to be easier with the graph on the computer. Go ahead.
Well, what you're showing is that time is actually a spiral, not a circle.
That's right.
So we've miscalculated time as well.
Yeah, it's not.
Time.
That's right. Time is not, and we're going to discuss that in a little minute here. Here, time is definitely, this is like a concept of linear time, you know, but plotted over a spiral instead of a line, okay? Because that's the true dynamics of our planet. Why is this important? Well, in physics, it has its part, and we're going to see that in a minute. But I've used that in psychology. That is that when you look at this, you can say that in each point of time on the planet, you have left an imprint on the space-time structure where that planet moved through. Meaning that all the events that occurs on the planet as we move through space are imprinted or radiated into the vacuum in that very specific space-time coordinates. Why does that apply to psychology? Because when you understand that, you can actually get somebody to go back in time in their mind's eye, following the path, the true mechanical path of the planet through space. And go back to an event that was dramatic to them. And what you do is when they get to that point, and you know what? It makes a big difference. Because if you try to get people to do that with the wrong model, which is the planet coming back onto itself, after you've gone back 1 year, it's too confusing. You can't do it. You see why? Because all the space-time overlap each other and it gets messy. But if you got the right mechanics, people can easily visualize that. They instinctively know how to go back. They back up the Earth to the event that created problems in their life. And then what you do is you get them to visualize that event or to experience that event from the exact contrary point of observation, 180 degree from what they observed the event from. So if they had a traumatic accident or something, you get them to change. If they had like, sexual abuse or all sorts of abuse, you get them to observe the event, not from the place where they observed it then, but 180 degree reverse from where they observed it then. And, if they were the abused, then they become the abuser. If they were the abuser, they become the abused. And when they do that, the first thing they experience, it's very powerful, it's very dramatic, first thing they experience is empathy. Because they feel right away the pain and the fear and all the problems that this person was experiencing that made them have these actions. It's very powerful. And as soon as they do this, the 180 degree phase of the two waveforms of observation cancel the event. And all of a sudden, you can see it in their face, and I've done this many times now. All of a sudden, because it cancels out all of the geometry following that event in the vortex change to the present moment. And they change right in front of your eyes. Some people that had major physical problems just got rid of them right there. And then all of the future possibilities change as well, because that event is no longer present in their spiral lifetime. So that's one thing that's really interesting about that. And it's been very effective with Susie. Susie is still here? No, she's left. I'm collaborating, hoping to finish a book on the psychology of the application of this theory. See, it touches all levels because it is a truly unified view. So I was pretty excited about that. I realized what the wave was. It's a vortex. And I realized that the mechanics of orbital bodies in the universe are all vortices, spirals. But I was like, how do I make that, visually appropriate for people to understand? I was thinking, I went back to my van, and I thought, I gotta use something like a rotating motor or something, and a string. And so what I did is I thought, to show this to people, I thought, I'll take a rotating electrical motor, and I couldn't find one. I mean, I had the V8 motor in my van, but that was a little too big. So I looked around, and I finally found an electrical motor, but it was inside my razor. So I took my razor apart, and I have pictures of me now. Then I had to grow a beard because my razor was stuck in my experiment. But I took my razor apart, and I took the little electrical motor out, and I attached a string to it, a fishing line to it, and then on the other side I attached a little fishing weight that allowed me to hold on to the string and allowed the string to spin at the same time. So then I turned my razor on. Is there somebody, Andy, that can turn the lights off here? And I don't have my razor anymore because, well, you can see I started shaving again. But I was in a physics conference, and it was hilarious. I was going around I was going around all these